Hello everybody and welcome back. We've got game 3 for you here, and it's best of 3 between Power Rangers and Balkan Bears. It's gone the distance, and Power Rangers, they've got something to prove in this final game, getting a little undone there by Exist Anti-Mage, and Weehaw pulling some pretty big plays out of his hat on that Magnus. But the winner of this, they progress through to that lower bracket final. The loser gets knocked out. It's all on the line right now for the D2CL playoffs. I'm Durka here in the JD studio. Let's head into the draft and welcome in Blaze. How are you doing? Game number 3, what are you feeling?
I still have to give my edge to Power Rangers here. They looked a little sloppy in game one in terms of very early map presence. Like, I imagine a game where Akashi actually had Shadow Fiend snowballing from the beginning, instead of having like the worst start you can imagine for a Shadow Fiend and then exploding out of control towards the mid game. Like, I feel like if you had a better start, and then you were able to catapult that into the mid to late game, the game would have gone much quicker. The mid racks would have turned into another lane as well. And just in general, I feel like they would have had a better tempo for their game. But Power Rangers didn't really emphasize their mid. They didn't emphasize defensive warding and making sure that the kind of vulnerable mid had enough coverage, and that's something that I think they should work on. But we're seeing a different draft from them for sure. We're going to be seeing the IO come out as well as a Train Protector, a lot of potential healing, a lot of potential aggressive plays, but Queen of Pain Disruptor is the opener once again. If it isn't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, they did very well with it indeed. The Disruptor displacing people, Queen of Pain jumping forward, did so well on lane. How many times did we see, support come in from the side to help out the Queen of Pain, and Queen of Pain was sort of sitting there like, I already did it. The enemy's dead already, I finished him off. But Tiny banned out by Balkan Bears. The Slark banned out by Power Rangers themselves as they pick up a Lena and still no real Wisp combination. There's still CK, Sven. There's a whole bunch of heroes still left in there that you can put up with them. Bristleback even is available. I'm not sure what I'm feeling just yet, but it looks like they want to settle down the rest of their lanes before they really do commit to showing their hand.
Yeah, I obviously wouldn't feel the CK here against Queen of Pain Disruptor. Those are amazing heroes to deal with the Chaos Knight. So I would look more into like, oh shoot, everything's banned out. Wow. I just keep on looking, going through the list, and I don't know. I mean, PA sounds okay.
We've seen
Morphling be good.
Wisp Morphling, Wisp Bristleback. We've seen Wisp Ember occasionally, but then like pure damage and silence against Ember Spirit. You do not want that to go up against you. There aren't really many real Wisp combo heroes anymore. Wisp has sort of been picked up for his own merits. I guess Wisp Tiny is the the big one. It's like, okay, Wisp Tiny, that is the combo. CK has seen some light of late, but I just want to flag up a team like MVP. They've been playing Wisp Ember, Wisp Bristleback. They pick up Wisp just because he's Wisp. But BBC take up the axe. Power Rangers now. What are you looking at? Support Lena, mid Lena.
It's mid Lena, definitely. IO and Treant will be the supports.
We've seen Treant off lane occasionally.
Yeah, I wouldn't feel really strongly about that. I mean, Treant, he did what he was supposed to last game, and I feel like they can still get that out of the supportive role, so they can give the off lane to somebody else. If you wanted to go off lane, pick up a new off laner, then Bristleback, like you mentioned. But otherwise, I'd say Juggernaut or Morphling should be one of their carries for Dit Your Raw.
I've got a couple of picks left.
5 seconds.
So Lena towards the mid lane, Wisp on one of them. They could put Wisp safe lane and then have a dual lane mid if they really wanted to. But things are going to get a little bit difficult with his axe if you don't shut him down. And if you do go for technically weaker lanes with your dual lanes, he can get up in the face of the support and really make them pay for it. And oh man, you called for the gyro last game or the game before.
No, it was game one, but it was on the other side. I thought that BBC might be able to AoE even more with it, but now in the hands of Dit, you're raw. I mean, this is a hero that can do a lot, but it still kind of falls into that vein of thought of, I want to pick up a BKB and then consider myself immortal. I mean, when he's overcharged, if he gets a mechanism or living armor from the Wisp Tether, then that pretty much makes it the case. But if for some reason the IO is dead or he's not able to connect with the tether before the BKB comes out on the gyrocopter, then you're going to get axe called, you're going to get sonic waved, and most likely cullinged as well. So it's just, I feel like they might be falling into the same trap where Dit Your Raw plays a hero that he feels like he could just be uncontrolled with. He can just build up his tempo early, get a casual Yasha, and end up with the BKB, and then still have a really tough game because of what BBC are picking to control him.
Well, so far, Drow Ranger Phoenix taken out. Balkan Bears, where are you looking now? They've got, down the same line as you're thinking, there's lots of control. They've got so much. Jump in, focus someone down, and if they do try and run, bring them back with a glimpse. But they've got lots of jump in. Where's the physical damage coming from? What did they give to Exist? Because Power Rangers in all 3 games right now have banned out the Drow Ranger. They just completely do not want to deal with Drow Ranger's aura. Exist has done well on Anti-Mage. He's had a decent game what was he in game 1? My memory completely fails me now.
Oh, you were the one who cast it, man. I was just tuning in.
You were just watching. They had Beastmaster. That's like the only thing I remember. They had a Beastmaster. He's Phantom Lancer. He was Phantom Lancer.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So he does well on these sort of mobile carry heroes that can jump in and out of fights and find farm where other heroes might necessarily not.
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, going for the Rubik for now, kind of keeping that wild card hidden a little bit. I mean, we have seen drafts where you can forgo a carry and you can like give a safe lane farm to the Axe and of course the mid lane to the Queen of Pain, and that still is an option if they just want to really emphasize fights, because those heroes could scale pretty well just based on the fact that BKB doesn't counter either of them. But in the end, we could still see something. Maybe the Phantom Lancer is not too bad. If it was a Chinese scene, I would say Lifestealer. Lifestealer has actually been really popular in that scene in general. The Juggernaut could stand out. Hard to say.
Well, that's the Bristleback taken out as well. Power Rangers left with one more hero. Offlaner more likely than not here. And what's even left? Something like a Clockwork maybe to jump in on that Queen of Pain. Then you can Cogs, Light Strike Array, things like that, and lock them down. He's also not too bad up against the Rubik.
Ooh.
I like how it reacts is exactly the same. Oh, Faceless Void. Gonna be running the off lane. It's been a while. It's been a long while since I've seen that. We've definitely seen him sort of transition back into the 1 role and people picking him up there. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it is going to guarantee the second call down missile. That's one thing that is really nice for Gyrocopter is he has a really large radius on his call down now, but unless you get that second missile, it's not as potent. But Chronosphere kind of guarantees that second missile. They have a lot of good follow through with a Chronosphere, and it's also not something that's easily countered by Rubik, because Rubik could steal Chrono, but Void still gets to move within it. The last thing I'll think about is the fact that Faceless Void is going to get living armor a lot in the laning phase, and if he goes for like that 2-0-3 build where he just kind of mans up against the supports, I could see a couple lucky time locks with some clutch living armor is actually allowing the Void to make favorable trades.
Oh yeah, definitely. Telekinesis and Glimpse are going to be annoying for him, but he's just going to walk into them, make sure that they know who they're dealing with. D2CL will be picking up that Gyrocopter, and Akashi or Sunlight is going to be playing the Lina towards the middle lane. King R and J4 though. Let's see how King R does, because he's a relatively new addition to the team. Quite often you need, a player pairing with Wisp +1. So it's going to be interesting to see how he interacts with D2CL and how they get things rolling. Because Wisp Gyrocopter, this was an old school combo for Silent back in the day. Just running around killing everything, taking ancients, taking jungle camps, and making sure you're a good 5,000-6,000 net worth ahead of your opponent carry. And when you're against the Wraith King, he is not a fast farmer. He needs kills. He needs a Midas or go for the Blink Dagger route and just go around making action happen wherever you can. If you're a Gyrocopter, you're going to be pretty happy about that. And if you have room to farm, you're definitely going to be out farming him.
I'm really trying to think about how the Wraith King is going to be able to keep up in damage. Obviously, single target damage is the right way to go against the Gyrocopter, just because he puts all of his damage out in AoE, whereas the other heroes, they actually have better scaling in terms of single target output. So you used to see like Weaver versus Gyrocopter a lot because he hits them hard with the Geminate. In this case, and this is kind of what I was talking about with the Lifestealer. But in this case, you've got a Wraith King. So although he survives Chronosphere, great. If he gets caught by a single Light Strike Array or an Overgrowth, or even the Chronosphere, like that's time that he's not damaging the Gyrocopter gets damage in. So I still feel like overall, Exist is going to have some scaling issues unless he gets an insane amount of farm. So I'm talking free farm plus Hand of Midas plus a few free kills. Like I really feel that Exist's lightning phase has to go perfect.
Yeah, free farm Midas, then a Mjolnir, maybe a Radiance or something like that, just keep the farm going. I kind of miss that build. The Blade Mail Radiance Mjolnir, just go walk up onto high ground, make sure no one can touch you. And those are the days, but...
And a Dota special, but yeah. I don't know. It's just... like, I don't think he can actually go for a blink this game. Although it's one of the better items for Wraith King to get involved, I think he has to essentially assume that his allies are going to be bringing his targets to him, and then he's going to go and just build like Armlet, BKB. Obviously, I started talking about Hand of Midas, and I think it's actually going to be important for him to keep up with the enemy farm, fighting or not. So I think the Midas is going to be very impactful because Wraith King, one other issue that he has is his flash farm potential. He can farm a creep wave fine. He can jungle and keep the sustain going, so he can do Ancients pretty early on. But unless you're constantly controlling the Roche Pit, you're able to get a couple, like I said, a couple kills. The Drycopter can just get a couple of Ancient stacks and pull a few thousand net worth ahead of you anyways.
Yeah, definitely. But I agree. If this was any other game, looking at the Wraith King against a Wisp, Lina, and the Faceless Void, I'd say 100% needs Blink, but I don't think he has any time to actually fit that into his item progression. And when you've got Glimpse and Telekinesis, both displacement spells, you do have the tools at your disposal to actually bring them back. And Queen of Pain can be that hero that does actually blink forward and try and sort of, shuttle people back towards the Wraith King. I'm here with the Scream and the Sonic Wave. You can't make your way back to your tower. You can't run back to base. Try and run down the river into the big green dude wearing the crown. Feel the pain of his sword. But
yeah.
What was Weehar's hero?
Axe, is that
Axe,
right?
That's right, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah.
It's
the extra knowledge bombs, the Beastmaster last hit calls.
Oh, yeah.
Good information. But yeah, I mean, the Axe can obviously put out a decent amount of extra damage in the fights. Good spins, the fact that he'll be able to get the Culling Blade. They can kind of start with some really good nukes and follow through. A lot of people don't realize that the buff that you get when you get a successful Culling Blade is both movement speed and attack speed, and Wraith King really is hurt on attack speed. So I feel like if they start the fight the right way, get the combos off, jump in, get a Culling Blade buff for everybody, then Exist is going to be able to follow through on that really well. The problem is when the fights start against them, and you're going into the Chronosphere, the Light Strike Arrays, the Overgrowth, all that locks you down and inhibits your ability to deal damage. And I'm worried about their potential in those kinds of fights. But we'll see kind of who has the initiation on their side. Axe could, obviously, if he gets a good start, snowball this game away. But we've also seen historically, and especially today, Weeha sometimes has an issue getting things started on his offlaner.
Yeah. I'm just looking at his drop down and wondering why he's riding a fish. I mean, it looks like a fish. It looks like a catfish or something.
It's like a mutant alien with horns. I don't know. It
has fins. it does, like, those aren't feathers. It has fins. It has sort of like a hammerhead shark looking face. It's got the fishy mouth. It's got.
It's a hammerhead bull. Okay.
Okay. with two legs. I'm pretty sure balance is a serious problem here for Disruptor, but he doesn't care. Rubik, the little jester, looking pretty funky. I still kind of miss him as Medivh, the robed, cloaked guy that you're not quite sure what he's doing, where he's going. And then back in 3 Corridors, the old Warcraft 3 mod, you could actually switch into a hawk and fly yourself around. Yeah. Oh, I miss custom mods. I saw you were playing them the other day. I was really jealous.
Just got this up, man. Yeah, no, it's a lot of people don't realize how easy custom games are to install, but you get a download on the DLC, you install one app, and you can pretty much join any lobby for any of the active custom games. So just gotta Google.
Yeah, we played Pudge Wars a while back. We did like an expo in England for EGX, it was called, European Gaming Expo, and we did a Dota 2 stand there for people. We had like a row of PCs for Pudge Wars, and then a row of PCs for just sort of random AP games. It was kind of interesting having young kids come in and try and play. Some older guys, like 40, 50-year-old guys, coming down and saying, "Is this a new game?" Well, it's kind of a new game, but not really. And this was last year. This is last year that EGX asked for a Dota 2 expo. But headed to this game, enough rambling and talking. Smoke up from 5 here. Yapzor leading the charge for BBC, heading through into the dire jungle. Exists just behind him with Hook, Levy, and Weeha. Bringing up the rear, they find Cheshire Cat straight away into the stun now. Do they have the follow through though? Weeha can't get in there for the call.
Yeah, the glimpse. Nice glimpse. Yeah.
Very, very well played. Timed it perfectly with a time walk, and that's first blood going the way of Yapzor. Good start. Great start for Balkan Bears. As you take a look at Power Rangers, they're heading through the Radiant Jungle like, there's no one to kill over here. But even so, I don't think their level 1 is too great either.
And the best thing they have for them is the gyrocopter rocket barrage. The light strike ray is also only a 7-second cooldown, even at level 1. So those are two really powerful skills. If they connect with a leech seed and an LSA, they should find a nice kill, and that's why they're going to try to camp here. But obviously, if BBC are smart, they're just going to avoid that if at all possible. But yeah, the Levi glimpse there, really strong. Obviously, he had great setup for it, 2 stuns in a row, so it wasn't trouble getting in range. But I was actually curious if Cheshire Cat was actually going to fake pump a time walk, because if you start the animation, then you S-cancel it, then there's a chance he'll waste a glimpse, and then you can time walk away. But didn't think about that, and it was the quick fingers of the Disruptor to pin him down, so Levi really setting his team up for success there.
Ooh. Battle Hunger from Weeha.
Yeah, he used that for the first blood. I don't really feel great about it, but I mean, if he uses it on the support doesn't really get to trade as well because like he can't really last hit and deny while harassing very effectively. And so if you just battle hunger a support that you're dueling with, that's great. The problem is, of course, with a gyrocopter, you have the option of aggro try, and now we see this 1v1 matchup where Battle Hunger is going to be pretty so-so compared to Counter Helix.
Counter Helix would be amazing. Just walk into the creep wave, draw the aggro spin to win up against that Void. Down on bot lane, like you said. Aggro try here, King R on the Wisp. Trying to get J4 into range for a Leech Seed, but they're not going to find the opening as Cheshire Cat, D2CL even. He's trying to get in there for the Rocket Barrage. He's not leveled anything up just yet. So it could be looking maybe for a homing missile. Rocket Barrage is the epitome of a strong level 1 skill. The amount of damage it does is pretty ridiculous. It's 300?
Yeah, I think like 330, I think is about right on that. A lot of magic damage going out, especially on a single target. And yeah, it's one of his best. But also Cooldown is, Flat Cannon is amazing in a 3v3 tri-lane. Actually, yeah, there's that Rocket Barrage damage, the tether movement speed allowing Ditya to keep up and keep dishing it out. But yeah, if you skill up Rocket Barrage and you see the other people, you need vision on them, but it gives you lots of kill potential. Glimpse back needs to be on Ditya, it will come out, but maybe too late. The damage is done, and the kill comes out, but Lina will fall elsewhere as she gets glimpsed, or sorry, Rubik lifted, and that was in midst of Hook dueling it out. No Shadow Strike involved.
Yeah, I was watching that go down while you were talking about bot lane. Just Yapsor just comes in, simple telekinesis. Lina thrown back into the river, pretty easy exchange. So PR, even though they got a pretty good start down the bot lane, the mid lane Akashi maybe feeling the heat a little bit here. He's had a couple of decent performances over the past couple of weeks, but you know, he's had some rough times as well. And when you're against like Hook, maybe is an unknown player for a lot of people, but he is definitely up there. He is like close to 7k MMR, but it's not just that. He's played with all these guys before, especially Yapsor. The telekinesis is now going to come out again. Their cohesion is there, syncing up very well. Hook. Still no Shadow Strike. He's got the nukes, he's got the blink, but the living armor. Keeping Akashi alive for a split second longer. Hook blink forward, scream down. King R looking for the trade. TPs himself in, but the puzzle. Healing up Hook, one more charge. He's going to get out.
Oh, tether to the tree. You can get one more hit.
Leech Seed. Yeah. You did it, boys.
Good combo, but still the Queen of Pain getting a nice freebie on the Lina, just diving and getting the blink scream. It's just... essentially, I think that the Lina expected a different skill build from the Queen of Pain, expected that Shadow Strike to come out earlier, but just using the Scream twice there for 165 damage instead of the 85 that we've been seeing more recently. It just changes the matchup a lot. Exist already got Tether slowed once, so he's still going to get some good right-click damage on King R, who's diving, but that Living Armor plus Tether, they're the ones now diving onto Levi, who's completely isolated, and it's going to be on Hook to turn it around.
Oh, he gets slowed up. A couple more hits here. We'll take down King R. He's got no blink for 9 seconds. The hit's coming out from D2CL and J4. Take him down. I just want to come back to a nice move I saw from D2CL. He turned on Flat Cannon, and because Wisp was diving and giving vision, he actually hit the tower to get more Flat Cannon hits out. He knew that the creep wave was blocking him in, or blocking him out of going into those trees, so he couldn't get into range of Exist on the Wraith King. So he just did everything he could, got the Flat Cannon hits out, spread them, and then chased out that Disruptor. Things are getting a little bit messy down on this bot lane, you know, they're trading out. It looks like D2CL on this Face Boots Gyrocopter now is going to start making a big difference. And what we were looking for, you were saying Exist needs a perfect laning stage, he needs perfect farm to keep up with the Gyrocopter. He's got brand boots.
He's got 5 last hits, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, his net worth is down in the bottom 3, man. He is 165, barely above the Wisp, thanks to bounty runes. And yeah, it's a really hard game for Exist. On the other hand, on the upside, Weeha is doing amazing. He has gotten 33 last hits. He's been jungling, he's been creep cutting, he's been dropping his tranquil boots behind enemy lines. He doesn't care. But as long as the Void keeps getting experience, that's still okay. Like, the Axe is going to have a crazy fast Blink Dagger, but they just get one Chronosphere, turn it around against him, and they actually get a lot of gold with that net worth turnaround. So, yeah, I'm kind of... It's a little shaky right now. Weehaw could do some amazing things, but if he doesn't, then all these deaths, the loss of the Wraith King, and more recently the Queen of Pain. Like, he traded his life for a Wisp there, and that's just suddenly what looked like a really good start for him with that first blood against Alina turns very awkward very quickly.
So it looks like they actually moved their supports up. Levy TP'd up to top lane because he's sitting at level 2.5. That I feel is another pretty big thing here for PR. They've shut down the enemy supports pretty well. Yabzor has made a couple of good movements towards the middle lane, but Disruptor's level 6 is really bloody important. Up against the Relocate In from Jerkopter and Wisp, up against the Chronosphere from Void is actually going to get popped now. We are held in place in that big blue orb as Akashi lines up the Light Strike Array. Pretty damn easy to combo things up with the faces of Void set up for you, but nevertheless, finding that Axe kill and making sure his Blink Dagger is delayed just that little bit.
So they each get 200 gold apiece, and the Axe loses that amount, so that is actually going to be really big setback for BBC in general. Like, that was the only thing that was going right for them recently, and now it's kind of falling apart pretty quickly. But yeah, we'll see the tier 1 tower go down. Nobody defending that whatsoever, as you mentioned, the supports rotated away. But now I'm curious what PR actually make of the bottom lane. Like, it looks like for now Ditura's going to stick around, but he doesn't have a TP, just the phase boots to maneuver.
Yeah, and I was wondering whether also does Axe come down to bot lane to take this lane and get farm here while Exist moves up with the supports? Because you're just going to be stuck in this perpetual loop where, okay, look, Vulcan Bears have switched their lanes. Let's switch ours back up to counteract this Wraith King. Or do you just need the Wraith King to sort of stew in his own hatred for another 3 or 4 minutes and try and get a few last hits?
Wow, so Weehaw made a very interesting decision based on that death, but we'll watch Queen of Pain mid, potentially a kill there. But based on the fact that the Axe died, I think he was going to go for Blink Dagger. I absolutely think he was going to do that until he died. And as soon as that happened, he said, okay, I don't really have that much gold. I don't have to rush a Blink Dagger. Just get some Ancient stacks for me. So there's a triple stack of Ancients for him, and he's going to go for Vanguard and use that to farm it.
Interesting. We've seen this from Safe Lane Void, but Safe Lane Axe. But I guess in a 1 versus 1 scenario, I would understand this a lot more if they had some farm on the Wraith King. You know, I'd think, okay, the Axe can go and close the gap. Hook has Blink off, cooldown. Telekinesis is up. Ditchura tethered up though. Turns things back around. He's got Homing Missile available. They've got the chance here to just take out the Disruptor even with the Laguna Blade. Weehaw does join the team fight, but Tranquil Boots will get stunned up by the Light Strike Array. Great play there by the Lina as Exist is looking for the gyro. Tether up. Got to get him safe. The stomp for the Centaur saving PR somehow. As the tether onto Ditchura, salved up as well, cooldown now. Flag cannon not off cooldown, but Lina cleaning up. A couple more hits on the hook will finish him off as Axe and the Wraith King caught in the Light Strike Array. One dunk, but can they get another? Wraithfire Blast and secondary dunk for Weehaw. The 2 melee cores managed to make something happen. As Sunlight on this Lina, trying to finish off Weehaw. A couple more hits here, a couple more hits. Can he make up the distance? He's got no mana left for anything. And it looks like Weehaw's going to be fine.
Yeah, that is actually going to be it. Like, he's just going to be able to survive through it, no problem at all. The Stout Shield block, the bonus armor, just to make sure that is not going to be a successful kill. Now they're going to go in. King R's going to give Akashi mana. Might find Rubik since he's underestimated. He says, oh, Lina's gone. Lina's going back. Oh, what's that Lina doing? Oh my gosh, there's the Light Strike Array. But looks like he actually gets the lift off in time. He won't be killed off under tower, thankfully. And yeah, it overall was a great fight for PR in the sense that they were able to get a lot of kills on the back end of it with the Lina. But the 2 critical ones there, the Wraith King as well as the Axe, did not go down. Lina was out of mana. They had just gotten a couple of good dunks. So in the end, I actually have to say the last part of the fight, and therefore the fight as a whole, was really good for BBC. Getting so many kills and the Gyrocopter coming out of Nature's Guise only to die without killing anyone.
Kind of makes you wonder, why didn't Cheshire Cat TP down? Because he was level 8, he had Chrono. He could have gone into the side shop. He was uncontested up here. There was like, you know, there's no one stopping your TP out. It was a 5 versus 4 fight that BBC had down there. They had the 1-man advantage, and that 1 man paid off. The Axe, you know, we saw him come in and killing Blade people down. If Chrono had been in time and landed onto the cooldown, or even caught out a couple of heroes back here when D2CL was being chased down. That just completely turns things around. It makes it a full team wipe for the loss of a couple of supports. But Cheshire Cat saying that he prefers to farm a little bit more up here, to put a bit of pressure onto this tier 1 at top. J4 has Nature's guys. The homing missile's going to get taken out. D2CL could turn around here, but J4's been stunned up. The call down, Sonic Wave lands onto the tree, but he's still invis as it exists. Has Reincarnation. They've got a couple of teammates coming in as well, so they get slowed down. Telekinesis is up, D2CL held in place. He's got another rocket barrage, but now he's in the wrong area. King R cannot save him from this one.
Well, the nice kill exchange there, BBC really pulled forward, making the most value of that reincarnation. And there's just no TP away with that Rubik lift still available. So if Rubik gets to level 6, YapzOr now has some spells to steal. I think the bigger one here is going to be that living armor at level 3. If you can get that, great. Call down, of course, not too shabby either, or any of Lena's skills. But your question about the Face of the Void. I feel there was a couple things. First of all, I think he was just getting his Mask of Madness delivered from the courier, and so the recipe flying out, he wants to get that quickly. He doesn't want the courier have to fly back and forth across the map, and obviously he wanted his damage potential for when he does commit his next Chronosphere. Another aspect is just how bad off he was this game. Like, he had a really rough laning phase against the Axe, and he wanted to make up for that. He kind of turned himself into a 1 position for a short time span, and he actually jumped up to top net worth. He was up there at the top, but with, I guess, Tranquil dropping from Weehaw, maybe messing up with graphs, as well as the Queen of Pain recently getting some kills, that has now brought him back down to level 3.
Well, Queen of Pain, where are we heading for her? Is this gonna be a Yule Scepter? Staff of Wizardry's picked up. And I guess against your Yule's Lena or the call down from Jarkov to missile, things like that, it's not too bad. But it's usually something we see against silences or, that instant direct disable onto the Queen of Pain. Or is this just gonna be an Aghanims? Am I overthinking this? And it's just gonna be Ags without the point booster first?
No, I think it's going to be Yule's. I think that it's the best way for her to respond to both the Overgrowth and the Yule's combo from the Lena. Like, when you see that Life Circle Ray animation, you just self Yule's and you'll dodge it out. And she just doesn't want to feed anything away. So she's going to go ahead, build up this item, which will give her survivability against both those heroes. And even maybe the Chronosphere. Like, you can dodge a Chronosphere with the Yule's, break the Overgrowth with the Yule's, and obviously avoid the Lena. All of that's really good.
I've just gone to click on Exist, and I caught myself raising my eyebrows at this. He's still going for a Midas. 12 minutes in, Midas on this Wraith King.
Gotta do what you gotta do, man. This hero needs to get online. He's not a great farmer, and this is gonna be his best way to have hope for the mid to late game. It sucks, it really does, but it's really the only thing
I wasn't raising my eyebrows as it's a bad decision, because we both agreed that he needs Midas. It's just that I realized it's 12.5 minutes in and he's just bought the recipe for it. Oh no, he's got it fully completed now. Okay, yeah, that's good. I thought maybe he has to still farm up the Gloves of Haste and he's got to wait out a little bit for that. But Exist can now head into the jungle for a little bit, farm up to his next item. Treads into. You kind of have to just skip past things like drums, right? It takes too long to build up.
Yeah, no, heck no. That's not gonna work for him. Yeah, just go into anything that can actually give you damage for the fights. I mean, this hero naturally has his Lifesteal Aura, his passive crit. Like, that's something that many carries dream of, is just having those options, having those things innately built in so you don't have to buy them. So really all he needs, since he's a tanky hero naturally and he has those passives, is he just needs damage. And as soon as that works out, he's going to be in a pretty good spot. So mobility maybe, but more importantly the damage. He'll go for just 1 and treads.
Faceless Void Cheshire Cat has now switched from top lane to bot lane, trying to avoid any fights for now. But I think he's kind of looking for, Queen of Pain if she comes off to try and solo farm somewhere, pick her out. But it's going to be a 5-man smoke from Balkan Bears heading up into the dire jungle. They want to loop back around behind J4. This is something we see, time and time again, that the core heroes are farming the jungle and the only place to smoke into is a support, but it's still a kill. That's still gold in your pocket. I want to take a quick look at the fight recap when it jumps up. How much is that? Yeah, it's very minimal, but it is spread across the board. It's like 140 XP each, about 124 gold. But for a support, like a Disruptor, who has brand boots and things like that, that's pretty much a set of Observe rewards. That is still gold in his pocket.
Yeah, it's about, at the very least, it's about what they would have made if they were just farming instead of ganking. So now they put a little bit of pressure on the map. They keep PR second-guessing their own understanding of the map, and of course, they make up for what they would have gotten if they were farming instead. So it's not really good, it's not really bad, it's just kind of an even, well, this smoke gets us this, and that works out fine. But now we're actually going to see the Roche play come out, and with Cheshire Cat so confident with this Chronosphere, they can just kind of go in on this. They, even if it's contested, they're ready to fight, and it's not going to be because it's just going down too quickly.
YapzOr wants to walk in. He's heading into a Yules himself on this little old Rubik. There's a magic sticks now in existence just to keep his mana up, and now Chrono onto 2. Not quite catching the Queen of Pain. That was pretty damn close though. Ditchira silenced by the Static Storm as Axe has found the Wisp. In the back lines, takes him down. Cheshire Cat also hit by the Sonic Wave, and here come the dunks. Weehar takes one down, and here comes another. Akashi Overgrowth it now out from J4 though, allowing the rest of his team to escape for a short while, but Weehar takes a full Laguna Blade to the face and doesn't give a damn. Crit out for him exists, and another dunk as Weehar finishes that fight with a double kill. The blink forward up onto high ground, not going to find any further enemies as he loops back around on the tier 1 at mid.
Yeah, really, I mean, honestly, the Disruptor just made that fight for them. The glimpse back on the Void when he jumped into the Chronosphere, one of their main sources of damage, taken out for that entire ultimate, and then the kinetic field locking people in not once, but twice in that fight. Like, Levi just won them that fight hands down, and it's a 4-for-1. I mean, that's just a reincarnation on the Wraith King, honestly. It is a level 1 reincarnate. He didn't get to level 11 until after he'd fallen once, but even still, a hell of a fight for their entire team, and it makes up for losing the Roche. It really does. So now they're pushing into the tier 1 mid. They will take that as well. And just more objectives across the board. They really were able to get some very important kills. Now, I will note that there were a lot of the heroes weren't actually in the radius for like all that assist gold, but for the kills they got, it was very important. Actually, haste rune on Cheshire Cat, but the Chrono stolen.
Oh, now we can just pop it onto the relocated.
Very surprising.
Oh man, I was just about to say it's not that great a skill to steal because Void can still walk through it, and then they relocate into it. They've got to know they're stolen. Static Storm will keep Cheshire Cat silenced up with a Wraithfire Blast locking him in place as well. Jumps himself back as Hook has gone forward looking for the Scream, but he only finds the Laguna Blade. Scream's not going to hit. The rest of the team though fighting on the back line up against this Lina. And that's going to be pretty easy for them just to clean up. Light Strike Array stuns them.
Laguna! Really? Giving all these spells away. I don't know. I mean, like you said, the Chronosphere isn't always the best spell, but in this case, it was very powerful. But the Laguna, that's pretty much any fight you can get it off. That's going to be a big boost to your damage output. And I honestly think that's what the BBC lack the most is actual damage. Like, they have some great heroes for controlling the fights, for surviving. They can get right up in your face with these tanky heroes. But when it comes down to it, Queen of Pain's really the only damage right now. But yet in the Laguna Blade, and pretty much everybody is a potential kill target. It's just about the mana now for YapzOr.
When we used to see Wisp picked up quite a lot, we always went and looked at, okay, Lina, Lion, people with instant nukes, jump on him and kill him instantly. Because that's what you want to do. You want to take Wisp out of the fight so he can't relocate save, he can't overcharge, and keep people like the Gyro Void alive. So now Rubik definitely has an in. Weehar can blink in and Berserker's Call onto the Wisp, and YapzOr can just say, okay, I've still got Laguna Blade. No more Wisp this fight.
Yeah. The one problem I see is that YapzOr hasn't really been building for this high of mana cost spells. He's been building for his own spells along with... Oh, wait, never mind. On the core, he has the Staff of Wizardry. Okay, I thought he was still farming for the Staff of Wizardry, and so I was going to say he has some real mana issues because he can barely cast all the spells plus the Laguna. But now that's not an issue, and now the relocate up top.
Weehar blinked and called into nothing earlier. Not sure what was going on there. Leech Seed is going to go down onto Queen of Pain. Culling Blade not going to hit the relocate. 2 seconds time, but he get both. The blink call into slam, and Weehar finds 2. A lucky spin there, you know, to find the gyrocopter first, but in the end it all works out. He made this really weird move where he blinked into this area next to the camp. Yeah, he's actually pinking it out now. I'm not sure what happened there.
Awkward, but you know, it happens. Clicking certain places. Now we see the Yules coming out onto the Lina. The Yules back the other way, both offensive, but Hook's the one that gets caught.
Third Yules? Who the hell? YapzOr with the Yules now. Oh my god. People being set up into the air left and right.
Oh my, that was all 3 Yules expended in the same small skirmish there. All 3 offensive too. None of those were like, oh crap, I see somebody, I'm afraid of the situation, I'll self-Yules. No, they were both trying to catch each other out. And in the end, it just sets up a very nice kill. Bottom lane, Cheshire Cat will use that chrono. It's not going to be stolen, it looks like, and it is just going to be the Disruptor going down.
Ooh. They were looking for the Yules there, and to blink from Weehaw, try and catch the Faceless Void, but they're not going to get it. So, Exist. How are you doing over here? Midas, Magic Stick, and 2,200 gold. Nothing on the Courier, is there? No. Hook has an Ogre Club heading into his Aghanim Scepter. There's the blink from Exist on the Wraith King. So I think at this point, like, Axe and Queen of Pain are so far ahead of him, he needs something where he can keep up in team fights and actually be mobile with them, because they're chasing and chasing and chasing, and he's just sort of, well, once I've killed one target, I've got no way of keeping up unless Axe lands a Culling Blade.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I won't complain about the blink. It may prove a problem if the team fight breaks out and he doesn't have enough damage, but right now he's just trying to maneuver. He can do a lot. Like, if he's getting relocated on, he can blink away. If he sees a Chronosphere coming, same. It's just there are situations where it's the best item for him, and there's situations where it's going to do very, very little. So we'll see how it pans out as the next initiations come, but Exist, he really needs to start bearing the weight of the team with his right click.
They'll finally get themselves up onto this tier 1 tower. Treant has a gem over on the courier, going to be delivered out to him. He's sitting invis as Dichira just throws down a cooldown, clears through the creep wave and deters the rest of the Radiant from pushing in. But now this might give them an opening just to dive. That is one of their bigger AoE ultimates. Chrono up in 20 seconds. It's probably bearing on the mind of Balkan Bears right now. When's that Chrono up? Where's the Faceless Void? I see the Lina mid, but I don't see where the Void is. He's probably, oh, now they see him. He goes into range of this cliff ward, and they know exactly what's going on. But with the gem, they'll take out the ward and limit the vision now that Balkan Bears do have around that tier 1, tier 2 tower area.
Before they're the bit, you're so far forward because they were looking to relocate bait and essentially just relocate, tether the Gyrocopter out if he gets blink called. But in this situation, they've delayed it long enough. They don't have to go for a play like that to get Chronosphere back up. And now they're really confident in their fight. Lina has the TP at the ready and is willing to fight them at any point in time. But honestly, unless Cheshire Cat goes down within the call, they're fine to hold this tier 1 for as long as they need to.
Looks like Balkan Bears realize this, back themselves up, and head back through their own jungle. Tier 1 defended for now, but along with that tier 1, kinda comes Roshan. It is such a great bastion of defense to hold these tier 1 and tier 2 at bottom for the Dire. It's great for your Ancients as well, when Gyrocopter does rely quite heavily on going to take these Ancient stacks, which have just been built up for him quite a bit. Where is Gyro now? Farming the jungle.
Yep, and actually it's going to be a jungle gank against Alina. She's got her own Yules. She'll probably use it. No, just uses him in TPs, but that's going to be Weehaw connecting with the taunt. So Kashi will be going down. Dragon Slave will be stolen. And there you go.
Hook stealing it. There should have been a slam there. No dunk for Weehaw this time. He's had a fair few this game. He's done pretty damn well. Blade Mail now, Force Staff is pretty much completed. No BKB.
No, that's when Hook, like, he's alt pinging his quick buy. He's like, I only need 150 gold for Aghanim Scepter. Only need 150 gold for Aghanim Scepter.
give me the kill. I need the gold.
He gets it. So yeah, Ag's set up for the Queen of Pain, and like these are fixing all the issues you'd have with the hero. Like the Yules responds really well to, like I said, a bunch of stuff that PR can throw at Hook, but now he's got damage to back it up. He can go in. The Sonic Wave is only a 40-second cooldown. That means all of their ultimates are pretty short cooldown, to be honest with you. And then of course they have the extra damage output that they can get in the fights, which just makes it so difficult for PR to be confident until they get more heals. I mean, the IO needs a mechanism. I don't know. It's just like, if you look at what IO and Treant bring to as a supporting cast to the laning phase and to the mid game, they actually bring a lot of heals naturally. The magic wands, the bottle tethers, the living armor, all of that really helps out the HP pools for the first 20 minutes of the game. But after that, they really need items to reinforce that fact. They need to connect with like Blink Overgrowth to disable their enemy, therefore kind of stopping damage rather than healing it. Or they need the mechanism or Urn of Shadows and stuff from the IO. But in this case, they only have the Urn of Shadows. They're nowhere near a mechanism on either of the heroes. And we're going to see Sonic Waves do an amazing amount of damage. With the Aghanim Scepter, it's 450. A few more levels, and it's going to be 575. Pure damage through BKB to everybody that it can hit. And I just feel like if it's not backtracked, if the Gyrocopter's in the wrong position, can be focused a little bit, that no amount of overcharge mitigation is going to be keeping them up. They need a mech on this Wisp.
Yeah, that makes me start to think now. I've had a few talks with people about sort of Dota 2 nomenclature in particular, sort of the actual words that we use in Dota 2 and the meaning of them. And with the definitions of roles that we've had for the past, year and a half, 2 years, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we've seen a slow shift from 4 and 5 being hard supports, kind of like what you're saying here, is the Wisp and Treant are true supports. They are the supporting cast for the 3 cores. What they do is buff the cores, they make sure that they have a good time in fights, whereas the Rubik, he is less of a true support and more of a utility hero. He's got some farm priority, he's built up some items. The Disruptor maybe less so, because he does bring people back into the core heroes and support by doing that along with Earn and buying up observer boards. But quite often it's difficult to find names in esports, or Dota 2 especially, for exactly what heroes or what people are doing. We just come up with a word that maybe fits this patch, but next patch it doesn't. Back in the day we had carry and support, and those were the 2 words we had. Now we've got utility heroes, supports, offlaners, 1 role, 2 role. So I don't know if we're going to see a shift again with the next patch and people start coming up with new words, different shiny words to call people. But I'm always sort of interested with that.
Yeah, and I don't even think it's just patch by patch. I think it's as like the professional games evolve, as they learn new ways to play the game. Like I have a couple of drafts that I play when I'm actually captaining like amateur teams and stuff like that, that actually switch roles very dynamically. Like I have a Sand King that starts 1 position, but at level 3 he rotates into the jungle, and your 4 position silencer becomes the 1 position silencer. And so those dynamic lanes can really reconfigure how the heroes can get items invested in them, and really the timings of everything as a whole. So I really feel like there can be a 1 position support in how items are prioritized on them, and just how much value they can bring to a certain draft. So like, for example, take Omni Knight. I've cast a lot of late game Dota where I'm like, I just think that everybody should give the Omni Knight farm, because he can get Agadim's Refresher, and suddenly you just don't have enough diffusals in the world to deal with those Guardian Angels. And it's 100% the case. Like, there are times where supports are the highest farm priorities, and I think that that nomenclature and just in general the characterization of roles has to change.
Link forward, stun, Cheshire Cat, where's the Static Storm, where's the follow through? Exist is alone up here to relocate back about 1,000 range, but Gyrocopter's already dead. Digiraw wiped off the face of the planet there by the Sonic Wave, and now there's the Static Storm. Cheshire Cat, no Chrono, no HP. The buyback and cooldown from Digiraw. How much damage can you do? And apparently quite a lot, as he takes down 2. The blink back from Exist, keeping him out of trouble for now. There's no overgrowth, the homing missile is incoming, but it's not fast enough.
Another value to the Blink Dagger, man. Just making a list at this point. The pros of this Blink Dagger have really paid off. Being able to blink out of his Reincarnate is a huge aspect of his escape there. And yeah, that was actually really well maneuvered. So 2 buybacks forced out. The only reason they could even get kills on the back of those buybacks was the overgrowth was really good. So they need this Roche in order to actually feel like they can consider this even drawing even at this point. If they can get the Roche and make use of the Aegis, I would actually say that they can bring this to being an even engagement as a whole, just looking back at the past 2 minutes. But if the Aegis just gets picked off or goes to waste, then I actually still think even with the Roche on, BBC won out on that one.
Yeah. The fact that Exist gets out of there, he's got 1,000 gold in the bank with Tread's blink now. He's heading himself into some decent farm. He had an awful game. 5 last hits, 3 minutes into the game, something like that. He had nothing whatsoever to call his own. But the Absol and the Rubik, nothing after the Yule Scepter. 1,000 gold, maybe a blink for him. We're the item progression over on the Radiant, you're mentioning we don't have too much damage, and they're not really itemizing for that. They're itemizing for mobility. The Queen of Pain's cooldown, okay, that kind of increases her damage output, but now Overgrowth and Relocate Exists, has no reincarnation, and he's going to get taken down here. The cooldown, no blink in from Weehaw with a Static Storm. Chrono catches Exist, and he does fall. Aegis Immortal expended there. The fact that Cheshire Cat comes in here and is able to catch one, not 2 anymore, as Yapsor heals himself up. The call onto Cheshire Cat, Sonic Wave, and now dead. Yapsor survives somehow on 20 HP. Ditchura, your Aegis is gone. You've got to run from this one. Weehard glimpse back, actually. Ditchura called up, and this fight is a disaster for PR. Yule's up onto the axe. Now, 4 staffed out. No Light Striker A for you. What a mess.
Man, I was so sure that Yapzor was just going to get hit by a Maelstrom proc when Void connected with that axe, but no, he just nukes him down before even a third auto attack comes through, and yeah, that was insane. Just a really great defensive stance from BBC. They hold position there, they react perfectly. That all started with a Wraith King getting ganked, but it ended with the Aegis being taken care of, the Void using Chrono and going down. Like, just so much went wrong for PR in that, and the only thing that they still have going for them is the fact that this gem is still in their hands. J4 has been holding it for a very, very long time, and that's a good thing, because if they lost that, I would actually feel like they have just nothing working for them in this mid game.
Well, the Lina did finish up an Aghanim Scepter, so even if the Queen of Pain or Axe do finish a BKB, which it doesn't look like they are, they're again, they're not going for that survivability. I guess with Chrono cooldown, the Overgrowth, there's no real reason to. There's no instant disable or anything that can lock them down like that. It's all very black and white here from Power Rangers. You either land your ultimates or you lose the team fight, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. It's very true. And honestly, like, BKBs aren't really a concern for BBC. They don't really need to delve into them, except for the Wraith King. The Wraith King does, because Overgrowth really hurts his team fight potential. But the Queen of Pain, she's inhibited, but as long as she has that Yule's in reserve against the Overgrowth, she's still fine. So it really is just that Wraith King needs his BKB, and everybody else just keep on doing their thing. Get more just potential output there. Shiva's Guard going to come out for Queen of Pain most likely to combo up with her Sonic Wave, and of course she's approaching 16. She's actually, if you look at the levels between Lina and Queen of Pain, the two that fought in the mid, they're very close. They're only 200 experience apart, and they both have the same intent: get that Ag's ulti to the next level.
Disruptor is the only one that's sort of lagging behind without level 2 ultimate, sitting there at level 9. But he's fine with that. Static Storm does pretty much one job, and that might be pop now. No, Chelsea Cat called up. The Chrono does land onto Levy. The Relocate now comes in, looking for Weehaw. Static Storm still not thrown out. The Connect Field, but the Chrono Steal that Rubik had did lock in the Gyrocopter and Wisp. Called down, only landing on Yapzor. Stolen back. Yapzor has called down back onto Ditchira. Yapzor just stealing spell after spell to turn back onto Power Rangers as the Yule's up. Allows Akashi to stay safe from the call, but not safe enough. The glimpse will bring him back. Allows him to kill off the Disruptor with a Laguna Blade, but Power Rangers losing hero after hero. Ditchira and J4, the last two standing and hiding themselves in the trees as far away from that tier 2 as possible.
Yeah, and that's with the buyback on cooldown for the Void, so he's down for a very, very long time. Now only 20 seconds, as this fight has really run its course. But in the end, it turns out Yapzor, true to his cosmetic, is a mad jester when it comes to juggling these spells around. He's really just picking them all up. Now he's got his cooldown back off cooldown, and a Yule's to set that up even better. Like, that's actually, some people even experiment with Gyrocopter, Yule Scepter. Well, we've got Rubik with the combo itself without really deviating too far from the mainstream. Either way, the tier 2 falls down. The map control just dominated by the side of BBC, but the Geometry site's still in the hands of Trina.
Ditchira. He didn't BKB, and now his TP's cancelled. Hooker's found him. He's gonna get the rockets down with the flak cannon, but they're not gonna chase him.
No,
yeah. King R's TP'd him.
They saw a relocate, and they thought there was 2. It turns out just to be the Wisp, and the Wisp will bring him back home.
Everything turns out to be okay.
Yes, even there was also an engagement with the Treant and the Axe, but it was just those two, so it's really hard for either one of those to go down in that situation. It's just everybody walks away, and in this case, I feel like BBC are the ones smiling. They are pulling ahead in every single fight. They're making the most of these clashes. Like you said, PR just have to hit every ultimate perfectly, and right now, just half of them aren't on point. They do finally get the MKB out on Ditchira. He's getting some real farm now, but at the same time, it's just that they've given so much to BBC. They're building up very quickly, and if Gyrocopter remains their point of focus, they're going to be able to control him sufficiently that they can just bring him down. He's going to have flat cannon before the jump, otherwise the Berserker's Call from the Axe will just pretty much make him useless. He has to have call down active, and that's sometimes hard to predict. I mean, if you get called off guard or you get hit by it's not going to be a blink telekinesis. Yaps are going for the Ags, but still, like, even a static storm catching you out and then the call immediately after, it's that moment of hesitation where you're trying to pop your BKB, trying to get the flat cannon down, that you're actually turning from a very useful hero that can still do a ton of AoE damage to the entire enemy team to a hero that's just hitting the axe and dying shortly thereafter. I mean, it's milliseconds in the difference. A Yura has to be on the top of this game.
You have to wonder, though, how do Balkan Bears break high ground here? If Power Rangers, hold themselves up in the base, let tier 2s fall, even if they allow Balkan Bears to take Roshan a couple of times, Power Rangers definitely do have one of the best base defense lineups that I've seen in a long time. They've got so much AoE. Do you actually just consider, sending Exist up onto the high ground and bait out a Chrono, wait until they use them and put their ultis on cooldown? Because Balkan Bears, they don't have, hexes, they don't have really any instant nukes to just pick someone off straight away. They've got a decent amount of sustained damage, but breaking high ground, how do you reckon they go about it? By an AC, by Vlads and things like that?
They could. I mean, that's certainly an option. I think their general game plan has to be just go in 5v4. Find a Glimpse pick-off, find an Axe Berserker's Call pick-off. Just find an opportunity to get a kill on somebody. It looks like it's going to be on Akashi here. He trades his life for the cause, but it will be a kill as a result, and a Laguna Blade stolen. Not Agged enhanced just yet, but very soon YapzOr will be able to steal even the bigger spells, the level 4 spells I like to call them, with that Aghanim Scepter.
Oh man, yeah. Agg's cooldown, Agg's Chrono, it's kind of meh, but how does that interact with Overgrowth? He doesn't steal Eyes in the Forest, does he?
He doesn't get the new spell, no.
Oh, see, that always disappoints me. It's like Chakram from Timbersaw. You should get the two low Chakrams out. Hook again. He finds a TPing target with the Yule Scepter. Combo it up with Weehar's Blink Call. Sonic Wave dodged. The backtracks are real, but you can't. No, you can't escape from this.
Backtrack's good, but it might not be that good.
Pretty ridiculous, though.
I'd actually love to see Call Down stolen. I would love to see just the global presence of that spell actually utilized. It's a rare thing. I've seen it like twice competitively on the actual gyrocopter, but as far as on Rubik, oh, Disruptor! Oh man, has to be a little more careful there in my mind. But obviously with the two big disablers, at least the initiating disablers, taken down, the lead on the Void, I guess there's not as much risk.
Hook wants in. Hook wants in on this Wish, chasing him down the tether back across though. Keep him okay. He's still being chased by Rocket here, Queen of Pain. Forces himself up into the Eggman's back. D2CL not going to get held in place by kinetic field or anything like that. The two times you've seen Aghanims on Gyro, were they both by Ake when they were playing their support gyrocopter?
Oh no. Actually, it was like more. It was CIS teams, I think tier 2, but it was kind of used as a farming method more than anything else. It was like one of those really long games where the gyrocopter just needed to find a new way to enhance his farm, and apparently the call was counter split push.
So I think that's one of the few times I've ever seen Gyro Ags was 2 years ago, two and a half, whenever it was. But Ake was playing, Keeper of the Light and Gyrocopter support back when they were messing around with those things. I think he built Aghanims once. I don't know about twice, but it's one of those items where when I was casting IESF, there was newbie against Team Romania, and Romania with Weha obviously picked up a Meepo as they do. It was How playing a gyrocopter, and I would have loved to see Aghanim's gyrocopter against a Meepo, because he went for the really stock standard build with like phase drums, BKB, and he just got hexed up and died to the Meepo. Whereas if you've got Aghanims, at least you're pressuring other lanes, you've got the ability to save your teammates or slow down Meepo's advance, and then farm safely from, like you said, globally. You've got that farming tool no matter where you go. It's one of those items though that's got a really awkward build up for a safe lane carry hero. It's why it's sort of either an off lane gyro that we see from Soxka, maybe it's an off lane gyro item or a support gyro item.
Yeah, I think one of those was mid definitely, but it's been a while for sure. Either way, we have like a lot of awesome smoke action coming through from the side of BBC, but I'm not sure if they're actually going to catch anybody off guard, as we do have a Dire Observer Ward up on this high ground position here. So the smoke hasn't dispelled yet, and it's going to break loose very shortly if they actually go closer to the pit.
They've done a full circle. Gonna head back into the Roche pit. J4 will scout them out. Smoke breaks. Levy does not have a gem. They've got a sentry, but they don't know what's going on. Blink forward. Gonna have to watch into the Roche pit though, as Way has already gone in. Exist does have his life up. Reincarnate's gonna pop there as Hook. What was happening in the back end? The Chrono onto YapzOr. Cheshire Cat. No! The Time Walk! He stole Time Walk of all things. He's still gonna die eventually, surely. Maybe not. I'm not sure. No, the Glimpse back. He'll TP himself away. Somehow YapzOr is a freaking god, getting away from every single engagement Right now, Power Rangers have lost 3 heroes, and they're going to lose a 4th. The Void locked in place, stunned up, and taken down by Exist on this Wraith King. Yapzor, man, oh man. This guy is a genius.
Man, it's a little lucky too. You got to give up that. Like, there's definitely some luck involved against the Void not getting hit by many time locks whatsoever. He kind of starts it off by just Lagunaing the Void right in the face, and that works out fine. But Chronosphere comes out, Yapzor becomes the target, but as you saw on the tail end of that, he just gets away in spite of all of it. Now we see the final pickoff kind of just completing the ace, and here is going to be the axe bringing down the Treant Protector.
Weehar's like, guys, I picked off someone mid. There's a gem on the floor, and I'm taking tier 3. Exist. Come on, buddy. Come and take the gem. Weehar has nothing to drop. Like, he cannot drop anything. Vanguard? I don't know. Go and sell your Vanguard.
You sure? You sure Eternal Envy didn't yell, drop your Ogre Club! Drop your Ogre Club!
Drop your blade mail! TV top, TV top, TV top! He doesn't quite take the tier 3. In comes the cooldown as Light Striker raid. Blown into smithereens by that Laguna Blade, and they do recover their Gem of True Sight. Courier was on the way to pick it up, but not fast enough, Mr. Spider.
Yeah, that Laguna to the face almost actually wrecked the Lina. Agged up 950 damage against the Blade Mail. That's actually most of the Lina's health by far. But
Exist, trying to take down the Wisp. Sonic Wave will help him in his endeavors as D2CL does TP himself out. They lose the Disruptor down there, but losing the Axe and Disruptor, not a big deal here. When you're taking down, you team-wiped them basically in the previous fight. You've killed off the Wisp and tier 3 mid. Even with the Treant, it's sitting on 59 HP. Queen of Pain just has to, pop her head over the cliff. Oh man, to see him. Akashi, now Yule's up. Who was that? That was himself. With a Shadow Blade, he's got no route of escape now. He's got no blink, but they move back and now get caught by the Chrono. Yapzor, he's used himself up. He does get taken down by the Laguna Blade in the end. No sneaky maneuvers for him this time. Hook bashed up. Time lock from Cheshire Cat. He's got Time Walk available now, but Hook turns back around to help out. Sonic Wave across 2. Cheshire Cat looking for the turnaround again. As Exist is back down to half HP with Cheese available though. Blink up from Hook. So he'll be able to just get himself back over the cliff. If he wanted to. Except he wants to go in.
Yeah, wants to use the Aegis in full, and it's going to be right now Weehaw bringing down Cheshire Cat down for 65 seconds, and that's going to be their impetus to bring them to this mid lane. Try to bring down the 2-3 racks quickly. There is a glyph, and of course everybody's healing up back at Fountain. So without the mighty Yapzor, I don't know if it's possible.
Yeah, I'm just reading across on Twitch chat. Yapzor, please. 15k MMR Rubik. Yep, pretty much. They will remember his name. They will remember this day. Yapzor, no mercy shown to Power Rangers here. D2CL though with the Laguna Blade. Axe dies again instantly. Hook even dropping very low. The MKB procs, the BKB popped, and D2CL looked very strong up on the high ground. The tower is now being healed up. From what was it, 59? From 59 to 500 in the space of a minute.
Yeah, I mean that's Treant Protector for you. That's what he does, is just play Bob the Rebuilder and go ahead and make the base as strong as can be. So it's just hard to siege, and it makes you wonder why they actually went for that attempt onto the high ground without the Rubik. Like, generally speaking, you're like, okay, whatever, it's a support that's down. This is your freaking Rubik, man. He's got your Ags, the Yule Scepter, he's got a great aura. No Field gives you 20% magic resistance, and there is quite a bit of that flying about. Rubik is actually an instrumental part of their strategy in these fights, and they're going to have to respect the fact that PR can hold high ground unless it's S5.
D2CL, what do you think about going next? Satanic? You kind of need...
definitely. Yeah, I mean, Scotty's the only other possibility, but I think Satanic is the upgrade.
You don't think Rapier is a chance?
Well, yeah, if you want to get Laguna Bladed by the Rubik Aghanim steal, sure.
That's a good point. That's a good point. But that's only if Yapzor does manage to steal it, I think. I'm pretty sure Lina's had a talking to, and they've said, stop giving away that Laguna Blade. He's got Aghanim Scepter. Don't want to get nuked into shreds by that thing anymore. Wisp, is that going to be a halberd for him? Ogre Club is built up. Could be a BKB. You know, he has been nuked down quite a lot in this game. Static Storm's annoying. But if he gets called and Sonic Wave down by the Quap, that BKB is not going to help you whatsoever.
Yeah, I just want to real quick, the fight might break out in the meantime, but if you can zoom out while clicking on Rubik and highlight his spell steal, look at that range. You can't hide your spells from this guy. He hits it wherever he wants on a 2-second cooldown.
Oh, that's cooldown. Turn it back around. Dichira held in place. The Wisp, no! What happened there? Was that a glimpse or something? Got the relocate failed completely. Is now King R's taken out with another dunk. We are looking for Akashi. Sunlight on this Lina. Running away. Got the Yule Scepter. Can set herself up into the air, but the call comes out first. Weihao with the stuns out from Exist. Find another kill. Without buyback on the Gyro and Wisp now. Lina and Void. It's pretty much all on you.
Yeah, exactly. The Chronosphere is there. The damage is quite substantial, but as long as they spread out a little bit, they should be fine. They can wait a little bit longer. They have a couple of self-heals as well, so they should be able to dodge some of the Chrono. And Hook is going to have that ultimate very shortly. Sonic Wave is now up, and they're just hunting. They're looking for whoever's trying to make the jump. They assume that Treant is kind of hiding next to the trees with that guys, but in the end it's just going to be free racks. Like, they realize the bottom racks is gone, they're not going to buy back on the Lina for it, and that's pretty good conservation from Power Rangers, but it's also your base in shambles when you're the Treant. Like, you were talking about it, they could hold this high ground to Kingdom Come, but if they get wiped out like that outside the base, then there's no coming back.
Have you seen where Cheshire Cat's standing? He's been waiting here for a good 30-40 seconds. Just doing nothing. Not pushing out lanes, standing by that tier 3 tower. They've lost both lanes of ranks.
They realize they just can't fight without the Gyrocopter. He is really all their damage now. The Lina, maybe they can single somebody out and kill one person with just the Lina. But if they're going to try to fight more than just a few people at a time, they need Raw. They need him to do the damage. And right now it's a tough position for them to be in. They have lost 2 full lanes of racks. They do have a Maelstrom, they do have the Flak Cannon, so they can deal with these super creeps pretty well. But all the same, they are now going to be pinned inside their base, and we're just going to see BBC pull ahead dramatically in farm. They're already 12,000 net worth ahead, 14,000 experience, and we've seen what they can do with this lead. Let's just see where they go from there.
Exist finished up an AC, another 3.8k gold on him. Hook, did we see what he went into next? The Lincoln Sphere, okay. Okie dokie.
Yeah, I was assuming that was going to be a refresher, to be honest with you. The double Sonic Wave, double Shivas, it seems to work pretty well, but if you can put this Liquid Sphere down on the right hero, then you're in a pretty good position to negate some impactful spells like that Laguna Blade.
Yapzor is invisible. He's only got Dragon Slave. It's still a pretty decent nuke, but now Overgrowth, the Yapzor, held in place, but that's a pretty big ulti expended just for a little support. Yules himself up in the air, and now Lina dodges Sonic Wave. Dichira is out of the fight. The Static Storm not really going to catch onto Akashi. We are trying to fight up against the Gyrocopter, but King O's already dead. The Chrono lands on 2, but focusing down Levy the Disruptor, that's not really the target you're looking for. As Hook sort of wanders himself back out. Dichira getting focused down by Exist. Hit down, critted, no. Dichira turns back to fight, but there's the crit from Exist. Hook is now godlike. Buyback is available up on the Gyro, but will they need it? Exist is still
they certainly will. Now they got one more. The Axe buys back, BOT's in, and yeah, they need the +1. J4, he's playing Gem Collector right now. He's got 2 in inventory, jumps out there, but it also meant that he was just too scared to unleash the Leech Seed to try to keep his allies alive. So now they buy back on the Gyro, maybe even on the Void, to try to make this fight happen. I guess you don't buy back unless you have Chrono, but Exist gonna get nuked down. That's 1 life, but how do they follow it up? They just are trying to force him out of the base, but with Akashi down, I don't know if they can do it.
They followed up by dying, apparently. I was wondering if Exist gives his cheese over to the Queen of Pain, but in this situation, he needs it. Just pop the cheese back to full HP. Dichira now fighting up. The Overgrowth holds him in place. Exist stuns him with that Wraithfire Blast, and it looks like that might just be it for Power Rangers. The Gyrocopter drops. 3rd lane of rank's going to fall here. Cheshire Cat, Faceless Void. Where are you?
I mean, he doesn't have Chronosphere, so even if he buys back, it's almost worthless. He's still going to get controlled and nuked down, and it's just going to be more feed. It's just going to be the game. They tried their best. They really did. They really showed BBC what they could do in Game 1. They put on a clinic, in fact, is what I would say in that. But here, in this Game 3, it's just actually BBC completely outplaying them. And a team that wasn't even supposed to be at this stage, thanks to Hellraisers and their visa issues, is now advancing.
The second choice team The fact that Alliance were above them in the group stages couldn't attend or couldn't play the playoffs due to Star Ladder. Hellraiser's visa issues because they were the ones that did actually qualify originally. But Balkan Bears step in, defeat Power Rangers in the lower bracket, head themselves through to the best of 5 tomorrow, up against the loser between Empire and Ninjas in Pajamas. So we'll be seeing who progresses to that LAN finals, joins Burden from the European stage. I have been Durka, guys. You can check me out on Twitter or Facebook at Durka Dota. Check out joindota.com for all of the updates. Thanks, Blaze, for joining me. Check him out on Twitter at BlazeCasting. Any shout-outs or anything, man?
Shout out to Aghanim Scepter Rubik. We needed to see more of it. Like all the time, I'm like, hey, just give Rubik a little bit more farm. He can just get that scepter, do some work. And people are like, nah, he's a 5-position support. He better just buy 5,000 Sentry Wards because he's useless to buy items on. But this guy did work, and real Rubiks can prove that. I really feel that if you're picking Rubik, you're picking him because you have someone on your team that kicks ass with Rubik. And in that context, get that guy an Ag Scepter, please. That's all.
Definitely. It's sort of one of those situations where, he's Rubik. You're lucky if you get a Blink Dagger, but it fits into what we were talking about earlier. You know, the role definitions of heroes are morphing every single game that's played. But thanks for joining us, guys. That's it for tonight. Tomorrow we kick things off with some MLG action at 12 midday CEST, and then we're casting all the way through to like 4 a.m. Cap starts at 4 p.m. I think with the first best of 5 for D2CL. That follows through for however long it goes, for however long 2 best of 5s go. But thanks for watching, thanks for joining. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good evening.